There, got that done. Well, I'm gonna let that dry and then I'm gonna cinch it down a little more. I use these, and I used a razor to cut the hole. So now all I gotta do is find the wiring for this, and there's some more wiring for the bottle heater that I gotta figure out because I think some of it came unplugged or something. Now back to the AC on the truck. So the direction this is probably going to go with this side is this is going to mount somehow on here, like cut it off in here somewhere and then turn it a 90 and then another 90 and go like that. But in order for that to not hit nothing when the motor flexes, I'm probably going to have the hard mounts, and I'm going to need to get hard mounts that are stock height so that all this turbo stuff still fits. So before I start welding on exhaust, this is going to have to wait until I get some motor mounts and get the motor solid. Then I can start back on this, doing the hot side on the exhaust. So this makes quite a mess when it's left to sit for months on end. That's how much it's made today, since it's been on the lift, so just a few hours. It drips there, and it might be seeping out a little bit right here. But what's really weird is that almost all these bolts, and it's just the bolts that are wet. Like maybe I needed to put a sealer on the threads. But these ones, they're not. This one is a little wet, and that one's a little wet. And then this hose is loose. There's an O-ring in there, and that fitting is failing, I believe. Not sure how much it's leaking while sitting though, and it seems like it might be leaking right here too. There was a drop right there. If I follow that line straight up, it goes to this. And there's some moisture here. So it's like it could be coming down off of this and running down this way and then dripping down. But this is wet here too. So it's like, where the heck is it coming from? It's a mystery. Oh, look at this. See in there? I'm surprised that didn't do damage. Maybe my breaker saved me, because that's just destroyed in there. It doesn't seem like a bearing went out because it turns still, but something either melted or just completely ate itself. I spent a bunch of money to use that pulley, and then I had to find this alternator that had that pulley
and so I could use power steering with this expensive kit I bought. I'm gonna put this back on. That way I can use the AutoZone alternator. That way I don't have to special order it online and wait. If something happens, I can just go to the store and get one, most likely. So that pulley there is coming off, and that belt's coming off. I'm going to put a SN95 alternator on it. Those were 130 amps, and that should be enough. I hope it's enough, because I got the fan, these two fans, the fan in the back, the water pump, the injectors, and the Terminator X, and the lights all need to run on the alternator, and it still needs to keep the battery charged. I'd like to find a 150 amp one, but I don't think I'm going to. But that's probably 50 amps, 50 amps, 10 amps. The lights are 5 amps, I think. The Terminator X is 5 amps, so I should be right on the cusp of it. Fans I got 2 of them. So let's see. Looks like the current draw is somewhere around 12 or 13 amps. 12.7 is the highest I see, I think. So that's just under 50 amps for both those fans. So that's half of what I thought it was. Put my seat cover on, finally. Put my cushion underneath it. That's comfortable. That's from sitting overnight. That one is probably the back where the trans brake is, and that one's coming out of the bell housing, because it's straight, you go straight up, and then there's the drip right there. So I don't know if the torque converter's leaking or cracked or something, or if it's coming out of the rear seal, because you would think it would, if it was a seal, it would drip out of here, you know, and there would be a drip here. But instead, there's a drip here. Oh, fuck that. That could be oil, I guess. Don't seem, that doesn't seem red. Well, kind of seems red. Focus, jeez. There's too many cameras on this thing. Yeah, it looks red. So since the heat is so close to this, I think it might mess it up just like it did the last one. So I was thinking about getting a piece of tin or aluminum and like put it across here, and then just a sheet that goes down like this, and just use self-tappers or something and screw it down. All right, I'm looking at what this guy did to this, the cam tune, the cams on this tune, and that's the chart for his regular tune. Okay, this is the one he changed the cam on. So this is the exhaust, optimal power exhaust valve closing point, and that's the RPMs
that he changed it to 7,800 like the article said, but the values are 1470 and negative 1.5. Well, that stays in the same lines, really. I mean, if there's no piston to valve clearance problems here, same degrees, and just different RPMs, I don't see why there would be any piston to valve clearance issues there. And then when you go to power intake, okay, so this is the optimal power intake opening point, and when you go there, that's the degrees that it starts at and the RPM, and it goes to 7,800 on the camshaft changes one. Now when you go to there, and that's the base tune one, it starts there and it just changes in the RPMs where it goes. It's not opening, it doesn't seem to be opening further. Well, let's see, 24. That goes up 27 and then goes to 23 and then 19. That's kind of weird. 78, 19. Twenty-four. 28. 32. 42. 50. So if it doesn't hit down here or up here on the other one, let's see the other one, that's 17. So it's only opening or closing, just opening a little bit further, I think. Seems like it should be okay. The difference does not seem like it's going to be an issue. This cam changes one right here in the very beginning starts out at negative 49, or well, negative 50 on the first one. And negative 34 on the first one here. But then after 1200 RPMs, it's negative 44. And it stays there. So that's a weird difference. So I made a homemade heat shield out of a old welding glove and a dog bowl. That ought to keep the heat off of it for at least a day. still pulling amp. Only 1 amp on that one though. That's the ground. Tri-State Raceway. Supposed to be in lane 7 and 8. That's lane 1, and all the way over there is lane 8. There's a tree. There's some stands over here. This is the Mustangs Unstabled event. There's a bunch of them. They're scattered all over though. Still over there.
This is my fastest pass. It got it didn't do much spinning on the line, but in second gear it spun a little, and I think I'm shifting late and stuff like that, so I still got improvements I can make. This one is another pass I made, and I don't think it was as good, but the starter is kind of sticking, so I'm thinking I'm gonna need a new starter, because it's not the battery, it's a new battery, and it still starts really hard. Other than that, it's running pretty good. I got at least one video of me going down the track. Alright, this is my nitrous pass. I only did one pass, and it might have spun just a little bit on the line, but that's right in along the lines of my goal there, so that worked out pretty good. And I'm almost out of gas, so we're going to put her on the trailer and take her home. Had to sit and idle at the line for like 15 minutes because some alcohol car wanted to run, and my starter's messing up.